All right, good morning, everyone. Great to see you this morning. Kind of dreary weather today, but we just keep going forward, and we're very happy to see you. Thank you for coming on, watching our video. What we wanted to do this morning, of course, we have an event coming up. We're very, very, very excited about. It's a Valentine's dinner event. That'll be on Friday, February 14th at 6:30 p.m. at our church, Bethel Life Church. That's at 111 Totten Lane in Front Royal, Virginia. So excited about this event. We've wanted to put on an event like this, host an event like this for some years now. We just could not make the connections we needed to, but we did happen to make that connection here over these last several months with Tony Kensinger, who we have here with us today from Ohio. He's a former pastor. He's been all over the country. His wife, Heather, and him go all over the country speaking about relationships, about marriages, about a lot of different topics, honestly, about organizational leadership, like a lot of different things. And we've spoken to Tony, and what Brett and I thought, Brett Clausen, our administrative pastor, is also here with us today. What we thought is that being able to come on and have a virtual call with Tony, talk to him about the event, his expectations, what we can expect, it would be very helpful to people planning to attend to be able to do that. So we welcome you here, Tony. It's great to have you this morning.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Excited to come meet you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we'll just kind of get started. Tony, would you just tell the folks maybe a little about yourself, you and your wife, and just kind of briefly about your history, and just kind of just let them get to know you.
Absolutely. So, met my wife at Bible college and fell in love. She actually chased me, and that's a fun story in and of itself. And so we are now 28 years later. We will say happily married. We still like each other because that's a big deal that you still like each other in your marriage, as well as love each other. And have been doing ministry for a lot of years, primarily in family ministry with kids and students. And several years ago, we were in a mega church in California and just realized that one of the best things we could do for our kids and students was help their parents stay married. We all know the rate of divorce and the challenges that go with that. And we just figured if we can help one more family stay together, that's a win for the entire family. And so started a marriage ministry back then that has stayed true to our heart, as far as, we know that Satan wants to do everything he can to tear marriages apart. So if we can just do one thing every day to help our marriage go closer, it's going to help in every aspect. And so with that, we have just been sharing the message of fresh, encouraging couples, people in relationship to grow on a regular basis, and that marriage is easy. It's just a matter of the people that you're working with, which happens to be primarily yourself and your spouse. And so we want to give you some tools to kind of help you along that process.
Oh, that's so exciting. It's that I think that's very good. Just in terms of the event, I know we have we're marketing the event, I think, pretty well. For someone who is kind of, maybe on the fence or wondering who would benefit from the event, like whether they would or not, because sometimes, people kind of, they're intrigued by an event, but for whatever reason, they just don't do it this time. And what we had kind of thought about, just for example, my wife and I, Rachel, we try to do something, because you are right. You have to keep that marriage fresh, just like your acronym, fresh. And so, like if a couple was planning something for Valentine's Day, this would be the perfect event. So I think that, I mean, you get dinner and a show, the Tony show. I mean, you get this, the fresh show. So it's like, I think it's a really great event personally. And if it was offered to me, and I wasn't a part of hosting the event, I would be very interested in attending something like this because I just think all the enrichment I've had over the years related to marriage has been very helpful for me. And some of those things, it takes a while to appropriate them into your life. I know that I know that a good marriage, I do know enough to know this, and like you, I was married in June of 1999, June 5th of 1999. And I do know that a good marriage doesn't just happen over the years. I think that there's a purposeful, a sense of purpose you need to have with it, and that you need to give time to cultivating, a good and vibrant marriage, and it does take work. And so it's very important that people do things like this. And so, what I thought maybe it would be helpful to tell people is who would benefit from attending this event.
Well, I would start by asking, how is your relationship right now? If you feel like your relationship is awful and it's on a one track, downward spiral, or whether you feel like your relationship is doing awesome, like everything is just going great, we're the happiest we've ever been, whether you've been married a year or 10 years or 100 years or just looking at getting married, this is one of those events that's going to challenge both male and female, husband and wife, on many levels, both if whether you're in that awful situation, that awesome situation, finding perspective, and finding just some key takeaway tools that's going to help you in your relationship with each other as you continue this journey together. And so, who would benefit from this? Pretty much everybody's going to benefit at some point. We're going to laugh. We're going to have fun. We're going to give you some very practical tools to help you out. We're going to share a little bit from the Bible, but it's not going to be overly spiritual. We're going to talk about just some hands-on experience of how to get through those rough days, those rough years, and to keep focused on the hope that God gives us.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. And that's what we've kind of been telling people. It's for everyone. I think that even someone, even if they weren't coming with a spouse or a significant other, they like if you I was reading books on marriage, before I was married. I like anyone would benefit from this. And I do like what you've mentioned, and I've almost told everyone who I've talked to about the event that you bring humor to it, which sometimes in marriages one way to gauge your health in marriage, I think probably is are you still laughing together? Like
Yes.
it tells you a lot because you go through different times, and so you have to kind of do some introspection and say, are we laughing? Because if you are, it does mean something. Like little details, they matter. And one thing is and so you're going to bring something in. I know one thing you do is called awesome and awful, and you're going to use that time to kind of tell some stories. And I think some people, there will be some humor in it, which we all need to laugh. Like it's scripture even. A merry heart does good like medicine, and it's just true. Like, and that's what I love about the scriptures. They help your life in so many ways. Like they're extremely helpful if you would just read those and understand. Like, and as you do that more as you grow older, I think like some appreciation for some things in the scripture. Like it becomes richer as you grow older. I think that's true. But so the laughing, the humor, I think that would be a great part of this event. I want to tell people a little bit about what they can expect at the event. So the event is at our church. Within our church sanctuary, normally we have our seating is chairs. We have padded chairs set up. They are comfortable, they're good, but they're set up kind of in rows. All that is going to be changed. We're going to totally redecorate our sanctuary. So we have round tables coming in, for seating. We have tablecloths. They'll be decorated with the Valentine's Day theme, and people will be seated around those tables. We're going to have a food bar where the event is being catered by Alpha and Omega Barbecue. Going to be some great food. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, the banana pudding made by Alpha and Omega is the best. Like you should pay the ticket cost for the event. Yes, for Tony and Heather, most certainly. Like what I'm trying to tell you is this event is over the top, and the banana pudding made by Alpha and Omega is top notch. Like it's top notch. Like you could pay the ticket price just for a taste of that because it's that good, ladies and gentlemen. But so we're gonna have a food bar over on the side. We're going to have picture booths set up. There will be a welcoming committee as you come in, help people get seated. There'll be a time where people will be able to eat and just talk at the table. Probably there'll be some funny stories and some, just some things shared through this time by sort of like a MC. There'll be an MC, just doing this, but you'll also be able to converse with people at your table. Then we'll have a break in the middle because sometimes, you just can only sit there for so long, right? We all know that. Have a little break, and then we'll come back and Tony and Heather will be able to do a session. They'll be seated. They'll have kind of bar chairs set up, probably with a table, and they'll just be sharing. I think and there'll probably be a Q&A session at the end. It's going to be a really, really good event, and it will be very enriching for your life, but also for your relationships and for your marriage. Like it will be. And I would encourage you, if at all possible, to come to attend this event. Yeah, but Tony, anything more that you can think of about the how the event will look?
Man, it would be great if we had a dunk tank that you could just put your spouse on there. I'm just kidding, no dunk tanks, but
We might have to do it. Let's look into
no,
that.
no,
Yeah,
we're gonna spend some time just talking about, your marriage as far as family, and the different aspects of that. We're gonna talk about building relationships, not only between you and your spouse, but with other couples, with other people. Talk about the importance of memorable experiences, how to have something that you can look back on with joy, with laughter, and sometimes with tears. But those memorable experiences are important. How to safeguard your marriage, and then finally, we're just going to spend some time talking about that our hope is a confident expectation that what God said He's going to do will actually happen for you and for your marriage. And so we want to encourage you with a word, and know that you're going to make it through. You're going to be okay.
yeah, yeah. No, that sounds great. Tony, and you might not want to, I don't know. I don't know if we would, it'd be something to kind of bring up maybe relationship experiences you may have had that may benefit others. Maybe, but I think, one thing is you mentioned some things that you've worked on in your marriage, and I think that brings a very unique you were going to bring. I mean, think about it. You pastored, or you were on the staff at a mega church in California. You've gone all over the country speaking at marriage events. Like you have a very unique perspective, and you and your wife work as a team together in this. And I think, for anyone, like just that alone would provide a unique perspective for people related to this event. And but I don't know if you want to add something to that, but I think that's important to let people know. You and Heather will bring a very unique perspective to this event.
And Heather and I, I'm assuming like most of you guys on the call here, we're very different. I mean, I grew up in a small town in Montana, and my wife grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. We're both firstborn, so that means there's some
Yeah.
sparks that happen in our relationship. She is the systematic processor, planner, straight faced, and I'm the more, hey, let's go do something spontaneous. I bring the humor, bring the excitement, and we've had to learn over the years how to make that work. How to. I remember going on vacations where we fought the whole time because we both had a different idea of what that vacation was going to look like, and working through, okay, then how do we make this a win for us? Learning how to enjoy life together. And, we're not perfect, but the thing that we've just committed ourselves to the whole time is that, but we're going to keep liking each other. We're going to keep enjoying our time together. And yes, we are best friends, but we also have other friends, and other people that we bring into our lives who speak into it, who say, Tony, stop saying that, stop acting that way, and for Heather and I to be able to make this work, the importance of open communication. So you will get two very different perspectives. I mean, and not all the blue and pink necessarily. Like I do the cooking in our house, I do the laundry. My wife also works; she makes more money than I do. So I mean, we work through elements in this relationship that maybe that speaks to you. Maybe you're very traditional in the way you do things, but there's always something you can learn just because God puts different people together, and the dynamic of the two of you is greater than either of you separate. And so, how can you build that team and make it into what God's called for your marriage, and for your family? And so, whatever your background is, you're going to be able to connect with one of the two of us, and there's going to be a story there that you're going to go, that sounds like us. And that's what our hope is.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds really awesome. And I think you touched on it earlier, in the current culture, what's the importance of events like this. And I think we can all look around and see pretty clearly that most certainly people need to work on relationships in general. We can all use that. But secondly, marriages and families, there are so many things that war against those two institutions that it's I think it would be self-evident for someone to look around and see why an event like this would be important for them, because yes, you can be out there talking about you want to see You think there are dangers in the culture, but what about you? You know, your own work as part of this, and that's kind of what we're saying to people: come out, take part in this. Like it takes a community within a community, and that's what our church is, our church community, and that's why we're offering this. But yeah, yeah. So we're we're extremely excited about the event and very much looking forward to it. So once again, that will be on Friday, Valentine's Day, Friday, February 14th, 6:30 p.m. Yeah, would love to see you. But yeah, thank you so much, Tony. I thank you for giving your time today. So much appreciated. I think this will be very helpful for people, you know, to see this. But thank you so much.
Thank you. We're excited to be there, excited to meet everybody. And if you're running a few minutes late, it's okay because, fights happen in the car. So come join us. We're going to see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you soon. We will.